Hey everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. This video is going to be all about the I Want Kandee collection, the collaboration between Kandee Johnson and Too Faced. It is a candy themed line. The stuff is really cute. There's a candy scent kind of associated with most everything here. And yeah, if it seems like I'm talking about Too Faced a lot lately, it's just because they've launched a bunch of stuff kind of all at the same time. That whole Peaches and Cream collection was exclusive to Sephora, and I believe all this Kandee Johnson stuff is exclusive to Ulta. So today I think I want to just take you through kind of try-on style and talk about everything as I go. I have been experimenting with this stuff for a little while now. I was sent the full PR package of it all, which really does allow me to give you the most like well-rounded idea of like, here's the best stuff from this line, here's the stuff you can skip kind of thing. I've got the Brightening face powder, 4 different matte liquid lip colors. There's an eyeliner, an eyeshadow palette, and then also a highlighter stick. So what I have on my skin today is foundation and concealer, and I was just starting to apply a little of this, and then I'm like, no, wait, you're gonna show that on the video. So it's the I Want Kandee Banana Pudding Brightening Face Powder. So this is a yellow tone powder, and if you look really closely at it up here, if it'll focus, you can see some little flecks of like blue and purple and pink. So it's almost like a little effort toward color correcting, I think, but it just does show up as sort of this light yellow tone, very matte powder. And I am picking up on some subtle banana scent with that, but it's not too overboard, and compact wise here, just a regular compact with a mirror. And I'm just using my e.l.f. small tapered brush, and I had just gotten done putting a little bit of this like kind of on the under eye area. And my first like thing that I notice about this is just how mattifying it is. It's interesting. I don't see a ton of color coming off on my skin, but I do just notice it getting a little bit more mattified, and I already had on a pretty matte foundation. I used the one from the Peaches and Cream collection. So to me, yeah, it's a nice little powder. I don't think it's really anything to write home about, but it's okay. So next up, I'm just going to breeze through a couple steps that aren't included in the Kandee Johnson products. I'm going to do bronzer. I'm using Laura Geller's Bronze and Brighten, and then I'm using my Too Faced Pink Leopard as a little bit of a blush. Okay, next thing in the Kandee Johnson line is the I Want Kandee Candy Glow Luminizer. Really cute little stick here. It's a highlighter stick, and this was the one that I feel like I noticed the most profound like candy scent to. It makes me think of just like some kind of sweet sugary candy, also a lot like just vanilla frosting or something like that. It really smells great. And this is a super frosty highlight with kind of a pinky tint to it. And when you blend it out on the skin, it's very dry feeling. It's not sticky, tacky. You don't notice really any moisture to this product at all. So what I'm gonna do here is just give myself a little like streak of that right up in this general zone. And it blends out really easily just with your fingers. I love the way this looks right after I put it on. I mean, it's really giving me that glow, and I do really like the color tone of it and all, but as it wears throughout the day, and I don't notice this as much right now, like I can look up pretty closely at it, and yes, I am seeing flecks of actual glitter in this product, which kind of like, I just don't like to see glitter on the top of my cheeks. It's taking me back to like a 5th, 6th grade place in my life. But right now, it looks a little bit more like smooth. There's that somewhat metallic almost sheen in it. But as this wears throughout the day, I swear the sort of base or like binding pearly aspect to this product sort of fades away, and then all I start to see really is the glitter on my skin. And I see it more just in natural daylight, like if I caught myself in a mirror somewhere in my house and I'm like, oh, there's really quite a bit of glitter, and I'm still at a decent distance away from my face, like looking at myself. So for that reason, I mean, I can't take anything away from the smell. I like the texture, I like the color tone, but I don't think it wears that well, and it's pretty obvious that there's glitter in this. Maybe that's something you like, or maybe that's something you want to stay away from, but I think it's important to know that that's there. Now I'm going to skip ahead a little bit once again and do my brows. I'm using my e.l.f. Instant Lift Brow Pencil in Neutral Brown, and I'm going to put on some Milani eyeshadow primer, and we'll jump into that eye palette. Okay, so now we're ready for the eye palette, which I think is really a cute design here because I instantly think of that old school, like kind of old-fashioned box of chocolates here. It's got the little like Kandee Johnson caricature sticker down here. On the back, it's like an outline of every shade in the palette as if it were like telling you which flavor of chocolate it was. That's so cute and such a cute detail. And then you have 15 shadows on the inside. To me, it seems as though they've been laid out into like 3 different quads, also with 3 different highlighter type options here. And what I notice in this palette, while it is a matte and shimmer balance, the shimmers in here are really, I think, intensely shimmery. Like there are some ultra frosty, shiny colors in this mix. And to glance at this, I instantly thought of like a holiday palette. You know how Too Faced holiday palettes just seem to be this random assortment of neutrals, maybe with a few shades that pop just a little bit here and there. And that's kind of what this palette makes me think of. Now there's no mirror on the inside in case you were wondering. Now I've already done several looks with this. I definitely did one concentrating in on these warmer tones on this side. I seem to just draw bits and pieces from the center group. And then I've also done one that incorporated kind of those berry shades over there. This color called Raspberry Cocoa is really fun to work in. And I really think I'm just gonna bounce around a little bit today. I am gonna start with Raspberry Cocoa and use that in the crease. Just using my Sigma E25 brush here. Again, Too Faced does mattes really, really well. I talked about that a lot in my video with the Peach collection because there's an all matte palette in that collection. And I do think as I review these things that have all kind of come out at the same time, it's important to keep it all in context and think, okay, maybe not everyone's going to go out and grab every piece of every collection, so which one's really best? And I'm going to tell you right now, I prefer the Just Peachy Mattes palette. I'm just going to grab that out. This palette right here, I think this is outstanding. Like, I love this. I love all the mattes. I think Too Faced does a matte formula really nicely. And in here, it was just such a great combo. Like the dark plums, the bright peach shades, the neutral browns. I mean, everything was working for me so well in that palette. And it just feels a little bit more unique to my collection. This palette feels like a lot of colors that are already lurking in a number of places. You know, I'm not saying I don't like them because I have enjoyed the looks that I've made, but I'm not quite as like gaga over it as I was for the last one. Okay, that's Raspberry Cocoa worked into the crease. Then I'm going to use Banana Cream Pie as a highlight. This is kind of the most yellowy toned, I guess, highlight powder here. And then you've got whipped cream here, which is just out of control. Like if you want a bold like powder highlight, maybe even wear that on your cheeks or something, that one's going there for sure. I'm going to use a little bit of that just under the highest part of my brow. Whipped cream is just crazy, y'all. It's just going there. Okay, then I want to combine these in a little different way than I've tried it before. I think I'm going to do butterscotched, and instead of using this as a crease shade, I'm going to just pat some of this on the lid and see what happens. Make something a little different go down here with this palette today. Okay. Yeah, I'm mainly patting this here on the inner part of the lid. This is a matte shade. Again, mattes are here to play. Too Faced knows how it's done with the mattes. Not saying the shimmers are bad because there's some gorgeous frosts in here. I just think sometimes consistency is maybe a bit more of a concern with the other finishes, but mattes are great. I'll take whipped cream and show you what that's made of right around that inner corner. Look how like just poppin' that is. Frosty colors on the eyes. I mean, I think some people be all about them. Some people might say, yeah, try to stay away from a lot of shimmers. If you try to stay away from it, I mean, I don't know, maybe this palette is something to completely steer clear of. But I do like the ability to do those pinpointed pops with just a little bit of product and feel like, yeah, that really went there, you know? Then I think I'm gonna do a little bit of hot chocolate. That's a matte from the center quad, and just pat that on the outer part of the lid. And this did come with one of those little like guidebook type things, and you see Kandee's face and like some step-by-step how-tos with the palette. I'm dabbing just a hint more of that butterscotch shade just right in here so I don't lose that color. And then I want a little more of Raspberry Cocoa, just kind of bringing it upward even more. Then I'm thinking it might be kind of interesting to try some of this Sweet Toffee shade, which has some shimmer to it, and like kind of, I don't know, add a little bit here on the outer border. At this point, I'm just playing here. I'm just trying to combine these in a different way than I have already. And here's an idea. I'm going to take a brown pencil. This is a Makeup Forever Aqua XL in M60. Take a brown pencil to my lower inner rim. Smudge it down just a bit. And then I've got this Marc Jacobs pencil in the shade Orange Crush. So it's just a metallic, like really shiny eye pencil with a lot of orangey tone to it. Blend that in here on the lower lash line. And then I'm going to top it off with Sweet Toffee. Yeah, that's kind of a cool look. And again, this palette, scent-wise, you know, you really get that sweet smell to it. I mean, not so much like as I'm wearing it around, but just from the palette itself as you're putting your brush in. Next thing I'm going to apply is this black Liquorice liquid eyeliner. It says Kandee eyeliner, and it seems to be like a really traditional liner, but you take it out of its little tube here, and you see that that tip actually has a slight angle to it. It feels like a little felt tip that's just been cut to an angle. I just can't get the hang of this one. Maybe I'm just so set in my ways with like a really fine brush tip eyeliner. But here I feel like I keep having to check myself, like, okay, is that laying at the right angle? And I end up getting a lot thicker line than I was going for, even though I feel like I'm trying to hold it right, you know. What I do like is the darkness of it, the intensity of it, like, oh, dang it. See what I just did there? Well, I guess my wing is going right about here now. Maybe if you're not so set in your ways with certain liquid eyeliners, you'd feel like, oh yeah, I like that little angle being in there. But for me, it just can't do it. It's like it doesn't appear when you take that little tip out of its inkwell that there's so much on it, but then I start going across my lash line and I'm like, man, that thing is loaded up, like there's so much product here. But the intensity of the color, the way it dries down, it looks just super dark. I like that. Now I'm wanting to like add a little more shadow here. There is a Licorice Rope color. It's a near black. It's kind of like a super, super dark gray. And I want a little bit of that over here. I haven't really played with this shade yet. Another few shades that I didn't work into this look that are really like pronounced. This Frosted Pink shade, super shiny. Sugar Plum up here. That's a shade I feel like shows up in a lot of holiday palettes. It is taupe silver, a splash of lavender in that color as well. It's really pretty. And Sugared Strawberry is a really cute shade as well. It's kind of like a peachy pink. But I'm gonna leave you for a moment and real quick curl my lashes, do some mascara, maybe a false lash on top, and join you with the lip colors. Okay, eye look is complete. I added some lashes on there. These are like a random super cheap style that I got for like $1 off of, might have been Shop Miss A or something. I just found them looking through my drawer. But also speaking very loudly to you through the camera is my lip color, and I want to try on all 4 of these Melted Matte Liquefied Matte Longwear lipsticks for you. So there are 4 in this line, and I had actually never tried this formula before this launch, and I'm pleasantly surprised. Like, I've used the melted, you know, the ones that are in more of a squeezy tube. You can see packaging wise here it's like a hard plastic, but the original melted stuff, and there were melted metallics, I've used those, but this is kind of a different ball game. It's a matte liquid lipstick. They do have a pretty significant dry down, I think. You know, they feel pretty dry on your lips, but they wear a really long time. They only really transfer off if you make a real effort to kind of tug at them. But otherwise, I think they're pretty decently long wearing. And another thing that I really like about these is that they don't darken as you wear them. Like, they stay very true to color, and that's kind of a rare thing to find with liquid lipsticks that do have that major dry down. But I think the colors are pretty brilliant. 3 of the 4 I absolutely absolutely love. So let's start out with the one I like least. It's actually the lightest one called Melted Ice Cream. Super, super light nude, and I think it could be pretty maybe mixed in with a different shade or like kind of topping off the next shade I'll be showing you. But on its own, it's just not for me, not for my skin tone. It just seems really, really light on my face. The next one though, the one called Freshly Baked, I absolutely love this color. This is without a doubt the most wearable in the whole collection, I think, for almost anyone. You know, it's this kind of dusty rose color, and I could see Melted Ice Cream kind of topping that one off perhaps in the center of the lower lip. You know, before they've totally dried, you can kind of blend them a bit with your finger, and that could be pretty. Absolutely love Tropical Punch. This shade screams Kandee Johnson to me, so I'm really glad it was in the collection. I think it's a gorgeous hot pink fuchsia color. It's so bold. I love how these colors seem to go on super evenly. You're not building up color to get an opaque look on your lips. It's a really nice formula. And then Sweet and Sour. I love this color. Like, I think this is so pretty. It's a real orangey red. I mean, more toward orange even. I just think it's stunning. And what's interesting about these is if you happen to lick your lips, there's a little bit of sweetness that comes off of these, and I have never noticed a taste off of any liquid lipstick I have ever used, and I don't know if these are usually that way, the melted mattes, but I have a hunch that maybe they infused some flavor in these just for Kandee's collection. But that was a really unexpected sensation. I'm like, I'm actually tasting something off of this lipstick, but yet it's not transferring off. I'm not like licking the color off, but there's just a little subtle taste there. So overall thoughts of this whole Kandee collection. I would say my least favorite thing is the eyeliner, just because I'm kind of set in my ways with liquid eyeliner, and while I like the formula, I like the blackness, I'm just not a fan of the applicator. The banana pudding powder was just kind of okay for me. I mean, it's a cute idea. I like the banana scent. It's very mattifying on the skin, but I think there are a lot of powders that do generally what this does. It's giving just that little light hint of a yellow tone to the skin, but like I said, it's not anything that I'm really like, whoa, that's amazing. And this Kandee Glow Luminizer stick, I mean, I really wanted to love this because I think it looks so gorgeous initially applied, but looking up close at it, there is glitter in it, and the way it just seems to wear throughout the day, I feel like I see the glitter more and more, and I'm just not about the glittery highlights. This palette, I think it's an adorable packaging design. I really think this whole collection stayed so consistent with like something I would imagine Kandee Johnson might create, and also what Too Faced general vibe is. You know, it just seems to really work. I think everything is well thought out, very cutely designed, nicely put together here. But this palette, it's certainly giving me nice wearable looks that I can enjoy, but there are loads and loads of palettes out there these days, and it's just, it's not a need for me. Odds are, if I hadn't received the PR package, I would have been curious enough to go ahead and buy it myself, but knowing what I know now, like, I think I could pass on it. I do like that they've laid it out with, I think, 3 distinctly wearable and nice looks here, and if you really like frosty shades, they put in some fantastic frosty ones here amid the mattes, which you know I like. But just for shade selection's sake, I just can't get past the fact that these are a lot of fairly common colors. And also, just in the context of other new releases, if it was this palette versus this palette, I am wholeheartedly on the Just Peachy Mattes train. I love this one. My favorite element of this collection, I think, might be these melted matte liquid lipsticks. I think they have really good staying power. I think it was a nice, like, little range of shades, each one very, you know, distinctly different from the next. I love the 2 brights. Like, I adore those shades. I think they're great, and I think Freshly Baked is super wearable as well. Melted Ice Cream, not maybe my cup of tea, but might be someone else's. But guys, I hope that gave you some insights on this collection. Again, if you're interested in the Peaches and Cream collection, which is the big Sephora exclusive recent Too Faced launch, check out that video on my channel. And thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I'll see you again very soon. Bye.